The U.S. Surgeon General is sounding the alarm about a worsening mental health crisis among young people.
We can no longer wait to address youth mental health.
And emergency room visits for suicide attempts were up 51%.
I definitely feel very stressed.
Number of youth experiencing depressive and anxiety symptoms doubled.
I've never felt so much stress in one school year.
Suicides and drug overdoses surpassed the death rate for COVID-19 among high school students.
I didn't want to get out of my bed today. I really didn't.
But at the heart of our youth mental health crisis is a pervasive stigma that tells young people they should be embarrassed if they are struggling.
And to solve it, we must come together as a community to let each other know that you are not alone. My name is Dr. Kojo Sarfo. I am a mental health content creator online, and I have about 3 years of experience as a doctorally prepared mental health nurse practitioner. It's interesting because I got into mental health on accident, and I stay on purpose. I was actually working in the neuro ICU department at a level 1 trauma center, and my dad convinced me to move back to Augusta, Georgia and work at a psychiatric hospital because they're gonna help me pay off my school loans. So I did that. And by spending time with the patients and by spending time with the doctors and other nurses, it inspired me to want to have a bigger role on the team because I was working at the psych hospital as a nurse. So I wanted to, make decisions for the patients. I wanted to be able to have a hand in, choosing what medication they were going to be on, or deciding if they needed therapy or not, or how much therapy that they would need. And at that time, I did not know that I had ADHD. I would be diagnosed about 3 years after that. And I remember being in the 2nd grade and, I used to see kids being pulled out of class to take medications. And then the kids would say that I couldn't focus, I can't pay attention in class. And I would go home and tell my mom that, I'm having the same types of issues. And she was like, no, we'll just pray for you. I don't think anything is wrong with you. But I knew something was going on. And in the 7th grade, I was watching a baseball game. Funny enough, the base runner had hit a ground ball to first base. And the Braves first baseman, Adam LaRoche, had fielded the ball, but instead of running to get the runner out, he kind of just took his time with it, and it was weird. And the Braves ended up losing that game. And after the game, he came out and said that he had ADD, and he was talking about his life with it. And hearing his story, I listened to his story, and I kind of matched that up with what I was going through. And I realized that, when it came to issues with inattention and the lack of focus, or sometimes being hyperactive, that I could relate to some of those struggles. So I always knew that I had it, but it wasn't until I was 25 and I was in the middle of my doctorate program that I had the resources to go get help. There's so many reasons why we're seeing the issues that we see today, and there's a mental health crisis because we have never really paid attention to the issues that people are going through. People are dealing with stress, anxiety, depression on a daily basis, and there's never been a safe space to give these people a chance to speak, and I don't think we have the necessary tools to deal with this crisis. So it's time that we talk about it. I kept hearing about TikTok everywhere online, and my youngest brother, he told me that the kids in his class, they paid more attention to TikTok than the actual teachers. So I had to figure out what all of the excitement was about. So I downloaded TikTok and I started to watch it. I started posting December of 2019 on TikTok, and that's what started my journey. I primarily post mental health content, but I don't want to keep it, I don't want it to be boring or mundane. I want to make it exciting. And I realized that it was the same thing: depression, anxiety, ADHD, bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, eating disorders, all the main things that people want to know about. But the one thing that I realized is that the way that it's being presented is not fun, it's not enticing. And people want that information, but they're not going to seek out, the information if it's put in a boring way or in a boring manner. So by realizing that on TikTok, there's so many different sides to the app. So just by being, a observer and somebody who was using the app for my own enjoyment, I would see other people dance and have different ways to promote joy in the app. So I took those concepts and I just brought them within the mental health space. So in the content, I'm smiling, I'm talking about mental health, but I'm doing a dance, right? I'm doing my little dance that I post online about all the time. I'm also, doing like raps and, just different things to lift people's spirits up. And in my content, I really want to emphasize the fact that there's nothing wrong with getting help, for your mental health condition. So whether it's a rap or a song or a skit or a dance. I want to be as versatile as possible so I can get to that target audience. I think that I was able to use TikTok to reach my primary audience because of how new it was at the time. We had never seen an app like that where you could just kind of scroll through and take in so much information at such a rapid pace. And because all the kids were on it, I think that was a perfect platform to begin talking about mental health. And so many kids struggle with mental health issues, whether it's ADHD or depression or something else. But having that medium where you can connect to the youth was so important, because you can't talk to the youth today, in the ways that we've been doing in the past, right? A brochure is not gonna cut it. A pamphlet is not gonna cut it. Just saying that, we have the school counselor, they'll talk to you, when you're sad, that's not gonna cut it. The way TikTok is set up, I think it lends itself to allowing you to talk directly to teenagers and kids and young adults. And that's such a powerful demographic, because those individuals are gonna be the adults of the future. So if you can get them in those formative stages and educate them about mental health, which is what I've done, that's powerful. And so we run the gamut, and I want to be able to answer everybody's questions and find a fun and interesting way to do that. As my community became larger and larger, I realized that I had a real opportunity to do something that I had never seen anybody else do. And I was having a blast back in Virginia, and I was doing forensic psychiatry. So I got to help patients who were especially vulnerable. These were guys and girls who a lot of people forgot about because of their legal charges and their mental health conditions. But I was having a great time helping them out with their medications and their therapy. But as my community became larger online, I realized that within the mental health space, we needed somebody to come in and to allow people to feel seen, allow people to feel heard, allow people to have their feelings to be validated. So just by being on the app and just by seeing the comments and the DMs, it really boosted my confidence. And I remember one day I was just kind of scrolling through my social media feed, and I was going through the DMs, and the things that people were saying, it was shocking. People were saying that because of your content, I feel better. Because of your content, I chose to not hurt myself. I'm alive because of your content. My mother's life has changed because of you. My kids are doing better. My relationship, my marriage has changed because I watched your content. So those types of comments and that type of feedback, it boosts my confidence. I've always had my eye on Los Angeles for whatever reason. This is one of the cities where if you have an idea and you put things together the right way, you can reach millions. So I've always wanted to live in LA, and I never really had a reason to be in Los Angeles. But once this thing kind of took off, I started to set my sights on Los Angeles. But the biggest thing that made me want to move and take the leap was the opportunity in front of me. And I felt like I would not be able to, I was gonna have a hard time forgiving myself if I didn't take this opportunity seriously. And once I realized that people were, leaving feedback that was, life-changing on both ends, the fact that their life has changed, and also mine too, as a byproduct of what they're saying, I realized that there was no better time. And I felt a little guilty because I love my patients, but I had this growing community online, and I realized that if I took content creation seriously, and if I leaned into my audience the same way that they were leaning into me, that I could keep going, and I had a chance to do something special. It was even hard telling my parents, that I finally have this dream job, this forensic psychiatry gig, and I'm helping out patients. I'm making good money. I have a guaranteed check every 2 weeks. And to tell my parents and my family that I was gonna move from the East Coast all the way to Los Angeles to do this full time, it was scary for all of us. But I had the confidence, and I knew that at the end of the day, the impact that I would make would be large. I didn't know that it would be this big, this fast, but I believe that in the back of my head that people's lives would be changed, and just by knowing that I had to move. I'm here in California, and my plans, at this point is to lean into every opportunity that comes my way. I'm posting consistently every day on social media. I, want to make more long-form content. I want to look into every single avenue that presents itself to me to push the same message. The message will never change. It's still going to be mental health awareness, giving people a safe space to be themselves, providing education, but the way in which I do it is gonna change up over time. When it comes to mental health, it's so important to have a community, because if you're struggling with a certain issue or topic, a lot of times you might think that you're the only one going through it, so especially like as we saw in the pandemic, people were isolated, they were by themselves, and they were still struggling with the same issues that they had been struggling with, but because of the lack of communication, the lack of human and social interaction, a lot of people had to go through issues on their own. So by having a community, especially within the mental health space, you allow people to have that safe space to talk about what they're going through. One of the best ways that I was able to create this community was by going live. Going live on TikTok was crucial, because at that time I would ask people questions about how their day was. Simple questions like, did you eat today? What was the best part of your day? What was the best part of your week? What are you excited about? And as people told me about their lives and what was going on, then they would ask me about my career. And once they found out that I was a mental health specialist, they would ask me questions about mental health, and they'd say, oh, I'm struggling with this, or I know somebody who has this. What's the best place to start in terms of getting help? And I would go off of their questions, and that's how I would know what content to make in the future. So by making that content that would answer their questions, and then going live right after that, it allowed me to develop, the foundation for that community, and then everybody who would seek that information just kind of gravitated towards it. I like the numbers like any other content creator, but I like to, take the numbers and really interpret it and see what that means. And being able to have, 2.5 million people, who are watching me on any given day, and people who want to hear what I talk about, it means a lot, because I have a lot to say. I have a lot of opinions on, mental health, and I have a lot of facts, and there's a lot of education that I want to, put out there, and I want to do it in a fun and a lighthearted way, but I can't do that if there's not enough eyes on me. So just by having people that want to hear the things that I'm talking about, and people who provide feedback, it makes me feel good, and it lets me know that this is what we've done so far, and there's so much that we can do in the future. So our numbers are cool, but impact is much cooler than that. I cannot believe that we've come this far. When I first started my social media journey, I had no idea that it would amount to over 2 million followers online. And when you're talking about mental health, you have to give people a safe space to be themselves, to allow them to know that it's okay to not be okay, but that we can make progress each and every day. And for me, this community means so much to me, because now I know that people out there want help. People want to help other people, and that with a safe space, we can do so much more. So I'm so excited to be a part of this community, and once again, thank you.